All right, so the United States sending the world's largest aircraft carrier strike group to the Middle East, the USS Gerald Ford, joining what President Trump calls a, quote, big armada. Take a look at our presence in the region as he continues to put pressure on Iran. This is a look at the Navy ships that are already assembled there, and it is an impressive armada, as the president calls it. He has warned Iran that it is time to cut a deal, stop their Iranian nuclear program, weapons program, or he says it will be, quote, quite traumatic, very traumatic. Senior White House correspondent Jackie Heinrich reporting live from the North Lawn. Jackie, you've got these negotiations going on, and then you have the presence, this huge military presence to back it up.
That's right, Martha. And the president says he thinks negotiations with Iran will be successful. But according to the New York Times, the options Mr. Trump has been weighing include military action targeting Iran's nuclear program and ability to launch ballistic missiles, according to 3 U.S. officials. He's also considering options that would include sending American commandos to go after certain Iranian military targets, the officials said. All this week, President Trump has reiterated he would rather make a deal than pursue a military option. But something pushed him to redirect the USS Gerald R. Ford from the Caribbean to the Middle East.
The second aircraft carrier that you decided to send, talk about why you made that choice.
Well, in case we don't make a deal, we'll need it. If we don't have a deal, we'll need it. If we have a deal, we could cut it short. It'll be leaving very soon. We have one out there that just arrived. If we need it, we have it ready. A very big force.
It'll take about a week for the USS Gerald R. Ford to reach the Middle East when it leaves Venezuela. Today at Fort Bragg, the president honored the special forces who helped capture Maduro there. Now, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has made no secret that he doubts very much that Iran can be trusted to make a deal. But President Trump has also faced criticism over his decision to work with Venezuela's interim government after capturing Maduro, which he says is going very well. Martha.
Moments ago, President Trump spoke to reporters as he departed Fort Bragg. Let's listen.
You probably heard we're going to be giving one particular person the Congressional Medal of Honor for what just took place in Venezuela. And met a lot of people right now. We were there for quite a while, and it was beautiful. These are great warriors. These are great patriots. And they're in very good shape, I will tell you that.
What can Iran do to avoid attack?
Give us the deal that they should have given us the first time. If they give us the right deal, we won't do that. But, you know, historically, they haven't done that. I will say they want to talk, but so far they do a lot of talking and no action. They've already started. Well, it seems like that would be the best thing that could happen. For 47 years, they've been talking and talking and talking. In the meantime, we've lost a lot of lives while they talk, and legs blown off, arms blown off, faces blown off. It's been going on for a long time, so let's see what happens. In the meantime, we have tremendous power has arrived, and additional power, as you know, another carrier is going out shortly. So we'll see it how if we could get it settled for once and for all, that'd be good.
Who do you want to take over?
What?
Who do you want to take over?
I don't want to talk about that.
Mr. President, have you spoken
There
to
are people.
Secretary Duffy since Wednesday, since today?
No, he's doing a great job.
Each time that the Iranian nuclear sites have been totally obliterated, what's left to go after?
Well, you could get whatever the dust is down there. That's really the least of the mission. If we do it, that would be the least of the mission. But we, probably grab whatever's left. It has been obliterated, as you know.
We don't have anything less than zero nuclear enrichment.
We don't want any enrichment. We don't want enrichment. Thank you very much, everybody.
Now, President Trump ramping up pressure on Iran for a nuclear deal, surging military assets to the Middle East, and sending a strong warning to Tehran today.
How confident are you that our negotiations with Iran will be successful?
I think they'll be successful, and if they're not, it's going to be a bad day for Iran. Very bad.
Bring in Hugh Hewitt, Fox News contributor and host of the Hugh Hewitt Show. He writes in his latest piece on FoxNews.com that President Trump's next move in Iran could be, quote, the most important decision of his presidency. Hugh, thanks for being with us. Thank you for hanging with us through the president's speech as well. You'd originally been scheduled in our last hour. I want to expand just a little bit on your op-ed because you say this. Trump could be remembered as the man who brought help to the Iranian people after nearly 50 years of fanatical dictatorship and secured America from an unfolding threat, or as the president who backed down more spectacularly than any president before him. You say that he's got a big choice here. The president has remarked that it's time for new leadership in Iran, but I think there's a real concern about what might fill the power vacuum if the regime were to fall.
Well, there is, John. Good afternoon. I don't think it can get worse than a regime that murders 35 to 40,000 of its people in the streets last month. President Trump's laid down a lot of red lines around Iran. Yesterday, he said extreme trauma if they don't strike a deal. Now, it's possible even for tyrants to capitulate. Gaddafi did that to George W. Bush in late 2003, 2004. You'll remember after we successfully invaded Iraq, got up to Baghdad, Gaddafi called up and said, come get my Scuds, come get my nukes, come get my chemical weapons of mass destruction. And we did. He totally disarmed. He stayed in power for a few more years, but he totally disarmed. So it's possible that the Iranians would capitulate. But yesterday, the president, on the follow-up question, after he said they'll suffer extreme trauma if they don't strike a deal, he was asked, when? He said, oh, a month or so. So I think we've got a time frame now, and the Ford is on its way. It'll take about 1-2 weeks for the Ford to get there, or a few days to get comfortable on station. And that's more firepower than I've seen assembled since 2003 for the invasion of Iraq. Mm-hmm. And I think the president, what he just said down there at Fort Bragg, was just another message to Iran. Our military can go anywhere and get anything done that it wants to. I think he's going to drop the dime on the Iranians unless they totally capitulate to the missiles, abject support of terrorist groups around the world, stop killing your people, and, of course, anything left of the nuclear program that was obliterated. They might even be facing the discombobulator, John.
Yeah. Well, judging by reports that I've heard out of Venezuela from people who are subject to the discombobulator, that's not something that you want to be subject to. I want to switch gears here with you, Hugh, to the Epstein files, because there's a very high-profile casualty of those files. Axios writing, quote, Goldman Sachs top lawyer Catherine Rumler resigned Thursday night after her name appeared in Epstein files documents. A resignation announcement that's effective June 30th follows the release of files showing emails spanning several years from a Kathy Rumler, who referred to the disgraced late financier as, quote, Uncle Jeffrey. She was not only Goldman Sachs chief counsel, but she was deputy White House counsel in the Obama administration. And we think about the Epstein files and casualties, you would presume that it would be men who would be most vulnerable, not a woman.
Well, the blast radius from the Epstein files just keeps getting bigger and bigger. Ms. Rumler is very accomplished. Not only was she White House counsel for President Obama, she was a partner at Latham & Watkins. After that, she'd been at Justice and AUSA. Very, very good lawyer. After she left the White House, though, she set up a white-collar criminal defense practice with Latham & Watkins, and Jeffrey Epstein sent her clients. And they developed a working relationship. It was professional, and she got gifts and clients from Epstein. She gave Epstein good spin advice. But it went all very bad when she got too chummy in these emails, when the emails were released. And I thought it was a bad idea at the time. Democrats pushed for it. I don't know who's going to end up with the most casualties because the emails are taking down people left, right, and center. You don't get close to a convicted sex felon. You don't help him with his spin, even if he sends you good clients. So Ms. Rumler is a very fine lawyer who had a very bad set of instincts regarding Mr. Epstein and whether or not she ought to be giving him advice. She wasn't his lawyer, but she gave him advice on how to spin his legal troubles in 2018, 2019, something like that. And finally, she said, for the better interest of Goldman Sachs, she did the right thing. She walked the plank. Always put your client in front of yourself. If you practice law, you know that. But I don't think she's going to be the last to go overboard because those emails are horrible.
Right. You know, Michael LaRosa, who's familiar to many people in this program, put out on X, another Democrat bites the dust. How many more D's will be embarrassed, dragged through the mud, or declared guilty by association for pushing for these Epstein files to be released? Hugh, great to have you with us. As always, I hope you have a good weekend. We'll see you soon.
You too, John. Thanks.
Thank you.
Senior White House correspondent Jackie Heinrich reports live from the North Lawn. Good evening, Jackie.
Good evening, Brett. Tonight, President Trump is sounding irritated with Iran negotiations, saying they're doing a lot of talking, but no action. And he made clear he won't settle for anything less than zero nuclear enrichment, as he touted even more enormous firepower headed to the region. As he trekked to Fort Bragg to honor U.S. soldiers who helped capture Maduro, mixed messages from President Trump on Iran, indicating Friday morning negotiations are going well.
I think they'll be successful.
But welcoming the idea of regime change by afternoon.
Do you want regime change in Iran?
Well, it seems like that would be the best thing that could happen.
All week, Trump has reiterated he'd rather make a deal than pursue military action, but nevertheless pulled the world's largest aircraft carrier, the USS Gerald R. Ford, from Venezuela to the Middle East.
Well, in case we don't make a deal, we'll need it.
According to the New York Times, the options Mr. Trump has been weighing include military action targeting Iran's nuclear program and ability to launch ballistic missiles, according to 3 U.S. officials. He's also considering options that would include sending American commandos to go after certain Iranian military targets. Trump says Iran's nuclear sites were obliterated by Operation Midnight Hammer, and the targets now would be different.
Well, you could get whatever the dust is down there. That's really the least of the mission.
Meantime, the administration's spotlighting good economic news. Prices rising less than expected in January, according to Friday's CPI report, with gasoline costs dipping and rental inflation easing.
We saw annual core inflation at its lowest since 2021. We saw real wages increase by $1,400 for the average American worker.
But cost of living remains high. Food prices still 2.9% higher than a year ago, despite a modest inflation pace of 0.2% last month. Although beef and veal prices declined 0.4%, they're still up 15% from last year. Overall, analysts say the trend is good.
Poo-poo on all those people that said the tariffs are going to cause explosive inflation, all that stuff. In fact, it has done exactly the opposite because we've seen the pace come down.
And January's inflation numbers come days after a better-than-expected jobs report showing unemployment ticked down to 4.3%. But the markets aren't pricing in another rate cut from the Federal Reserve until summertime. Fed watchers predicting that policymakers will hold rates steady at the Fed's March meeting, Brad.
Jackie Heinrich live on the North Lawn.
The big question tonight is a U.S. attack on Iran imminent? And also breaking tonight, according to a Reuters report, the U.S. military is now preparing for potentially weeks-long Iran operations. Here with more, Arkansas Senator Tom Cotton. Before I get to Iran, so the Democrats, they're going on vacation. They're headed to Germany, a lot of them. They want to leave and not fund ICE and the Coast Guard and TSA and the Secret Service. They want to defund ICE, defund the police. They don't want voter ID. I'll take that referendum choice every day of the week.
Yeah, Sean, it's just a reminder of how deeply, deeply opposed Democrats are to the deportation of illegal aliens. They want to protect illegal aliens in this country so badly that they're willing to harm Arkansans who need to fly in the coming weeks by defunding TSA, or Arkansans who are trying to dig out from underneath this winter storm who might need to claim FEMA relief funds. They want to withhold paychecks from our Coast Guardsmen who are protecting our shores from drug cartels or protecting our friends and our Navy assets in the Persian Gulf. That's how much they are committed to defunding the immigration police and protecting illegal aliens.
Republicans in the Senate, and we need one more Republican, and I hope we get that soon. They need to force the Democrats to do a real filibuster on the issue of the SAVE Act, and I hope they get that done, and we'll see what happens when they get back from vacation. As it relates to Iran, I don't believe you're dealing with a country you can ever trust. I think they are radical Islamists that have proven they cannot be trusted. #1 state sponsor of terror in the world. And the only negotiation I really see that would be worthwhile is, do you want to leave this week, next week, or do you need 3 weeks to go to Russia with whatever you pillage from the country on the way out?